Equity, wealth, money in the bank. That is what we're told from the time we get started investing as a new real estate investor. Buy right, don't overpay. Make sure you have equity in the deal or it isn't a deal. We've all been told that countless times, but I'm here to tell you today equity isn't always all that. Equity, that's what we're talking about today on the Sub2Deals Show.
Are you looking to up your real estate investing game? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Sub2Deals Show with your host, Sub2 expert William Tingle.
Hey, Sub2ers, my name is William Tingle of Sub2Deals.com, and I would like to welcome you to this episode of the Sub2Deals Show, where we talk about all things subject to. Now, occasionally we will cover other real estate investing topics, but it's always something to help you with your real estate investing business. Today's topic is equity and how you can't eat it. Okay. I actually had another topic planned for today's show, but this afternoon, a group coaching student posted a link to an article in our group about a landlord in Chicago that isn't getting paid by most of his tenants due to the eviction moratoriums. The news crew was actually following him around, showing him and his reactions as some of his tenants slammed the door in his face when he simply knocked and asked if they had his rent for the month. He wasn't rude or intimidating at all. The man simply asked each of them in a somewhat friendly manner, in my opinion, if they had his money for the month. A 3-minute video, which is what this was, it ended with him saying that it wouldn't be long before he couldn't even make his own house payment. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this and I'm thinking, obviously, this guy has several houses, and I wonder how long he's owned them. I wonder how much equity he has. And equity is wealth, right? How is all of this wealth helping him now? He can't even pay his own personal bills. Not only that, but I'm willing to bet that in our current environment, it's pretty hard for a guy like that to do any sort of cash out refinance to stay afloat. So, what is this guy, even if he has significant equity, supposed to do? The really bad news is that right now, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of landlords in his exact situation, wondering how they're going to pay their own bills as this can keeps getting kicked down the road. Now, most new investors, at least I know when I got started, we're told to buy right, get a discount, get built-in equity. Equity is where the wealth is, and so on. It's the same way of thinking that causes most homeowners to buy into the falsehood that their home is their greatest asset. You know, it's common for homeowners to think, well, I'll be okay no matter what the market does. Real estate always goes up, and I'll always have equity in my home to fall back on. But the truth is, the home is not the only investment that you have that it's just not always an asset. It's a liability, whether you own it outright or not. If you don't have a mortgage, you still have maintenance, taxes, and insurance to pay. At their very basic meanings, assets put money in your pocket and liabilities take money out. People will argue that their equity in their residence is an asset, but the truth is it's not. Until the home is sold and your equity is extracted, a home only takes money out of your pocket in the form of either mortgage payments or insurance, utilities, property taxes, maintenance, capital expenditures for renovations and repairs, and any other expenses that come up. Until it's sold, your home is a liability. It's money constantly going out, sometimes more than you'll ever get back out of it. You know, I'm reminded of a quote by Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when he said, "When you're broke, assets feed you and liabilities eat you." What I've actually discovered over the years of investing is that many times equity is a liability more than a wealth builder. If you have equity, you're the target of lawsuits because obviously you have something someone can get. Where if you're fully leveraged and you owe practically what the property's worth, there really isn't anything there, at least as far as most people can see. I would much, much rather have 100% leveraged property sold with seller financing, cash flowing $500 a month, than a 75% leveraged $200,000 property with little to no cash flow and $25,000 or $50,000 in equity. I can spend the heck out of that $500 a month each month, and I can see putting some of that cash in the bank for rainy days like the ones we're seeing right now. But the 25 or 50,000 or so in equity, not so much. Sure, equity's a wealth builder sometimes, but cash in the bank always is. The saying you can't eat equity is really pretty cliche, but it's oh so true when it comes to real estate investing. So what exactly does it mean? Essentially, what it means is equity doesn't put food on the table. Yes, it does give you long term wealth, which is what most real estate investors are supposed to be after, but it doesn't pay monthly bills. The ones that you get every month that have to be paid on a regular basis: food, utilities, maybe your house payment. For that, you need cash flow. If you have a property with no cash flow and a ton of equity, what good does it do you if you don't have the money in the bank to write a check for groceries? It's not like you can go up to the house and tear off a shutter and go to the store and buy your baby milk, right? Cash flow is king in real estate investing. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'm going to say it again. Your investing should be all about cash flow. Sure, if you're buying, selling, and flipping properties, then price appreciation becomes more important. But if your game is hanging on to it for any period of time, and that includes acting as the bank, or renting it out, or leasing it, anything except a quick turn, then cash flow will always be king. Sometimes it's hard to see and understand when prices are appreciating rapidly, like they are right now in a lot of markets. But when the music stops, and it will stop, and prices start flattening or even dipping, you don't want to be the one standing there without a chair. Even if you're over leveraged, you'll still be happy that you focused on cash flow to keep things going. I learned a long time ago how to make money with houses with absolutely no equity. And I have to tell you, since I started paying an average of 93 to 97% LTV, I've made a lot more money, a lot easier than any time before when I was focusing on buying right. I'm not saying that building equity isn't great, and most certainly is. Equity absolutely does build long term wealth and gives you options to sell or refinance your revenue property portfolio to generate cash most of the time. But just don't let it be your day to day focus, or your monthly expenses may quickly exceed your income if you're not careful, especially as you scale. Let me leave you with some wise words an old guy told me one time. When your outgo exceeds your ingo, out you go. Well, Sub2ers, that's it for this episode of the Sub2Deals Show podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode along with a complete transcript at sub2podcast.com. Share our podcast episodes, if you will. Help other investors who are trying to get started or want to learn more about creative finance. And finally, if you haven't yet, you can join our free Facebook Subject To group at sub2forum.com. So until next time, keep learning, keep talking to sellers, and you will buy some houses.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Sub2Deals Show with William Tingle. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit sub2deals.com and on Facebook at Sub2Deals. We'll catch you next time.